Land acknowledgement. As we gather together, we acknowledge the sacred land on which we reside. It has been a site of human activity for 15,000 years. This land is the territory of the Huron-Wendat and Petun First Nations, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. The territory was the subject of Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and Confederacy of the Ojibwe and allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, this gathering place is still the home of many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community on this territory. We are also mindful of broken covenants and the need to strive to make right with all our relations. Last but certainly not least, we acknowledge the people of African descent who were brought here against their own will or in search of a safe place to live their lives and raise their children. Reconnaissance des terres. En nous rassemblant, nous reconnaissons la terre sacrée sur laquelle nous résidons. C'est un site d'activité humaine depuis 15 000 ans. Cette terre est le territoire des Premières Nations Huron-Wendat et Petun, les Scéniques et plus récemment les Mississaugas de la rivière Crédit. Le territoire était sujet de l'alliance de la ceinture Wampum plat avec cuillère, un accord entre la Confédération Iroquois et Confédération des Ojibwe et des nations alliées à partager et à prendre soin pacifiquement pour les ressources autour des Grands Lacs. Aujourd'hui, ce lieu de rassemblement est toujours le foyer de nombreux peuples autochtones de toute l'île de la Tortue et nous sommes reconnaissants d'avoir la possibilité de travailler dans la communauté sur ce territoire. Nous sommes également conscients des alliances brisées et de la nécessité de nous efforcer de guérir toutes nos relations. Dernier point, mais non le moindre, nous remercions les personnes d'ascendance africaine qui ont été amenées ici contre leur volonté ou à la recherche d'un endroit sûr où vivre leur vie et élever leurs enfants.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Ask the Professional. We are here in Black History Month, and we want to just shout out and acknowledge, our Black business people from the past and looking as we are at the BBPA building into the present and for the future. And I want to thank our awesome partner from Gallo, who's here with us today. We are so very thankful for you all being here today on behalf of the BBPA. And this year we'll be having our 40th BBPA Harry Drum Awards, and you are one of our keen partners, and you supported last year with your wonderful apothic wines, which there were others, but we love that wonderful full-bodied, rich, robust red. Sounds like I'm talking about myself. But absolutely loved it. They're bold and captive. You guys are bold and captivating at a time when equity, diversity, and inclusion is so important. And Apothic doesn't just walk the talk. You are you're speaking it and you're walking the talk as well, and showing with your partnership. What I'm very thrilled about is the Apothic winemaker is Debbie Jurgensen. Is that correct? Did I get that right, team? Yeah, is among the few women at the top in the wine industry. So because, again, so we'll have to do something for International Women's Month again. We'll have to invite you back because I think that's such a rarity, and that's so great. And so, we really are very thrilled to have you all on board with us today. Thank you so very much. And we're also very thrilled for your partnership. So I look forward to meeting you all, hopefully in person at the BBPA Harry Drum Awards this year, which is April 30th. And once again, your partners. And I don't see Chris. I think I saw Chris's name here, but I don't see Chris. But Chris, just know that we love you. okay? We all love you so much at the BBPA. And, I know we worked in partnership. You had one of our students intern with your company, which was a fantastic experience. And, that's what we're looking for in partnership. It's walking the talk, but also, what I say, showing our community and through our programming another way. So how is it done at Gallo, for example? And so we look forward to doing a lot more with you. And so welcome to our Ask a Professional. And so our Ask a Professional is to show our community what's it like in your industry. So what is it like in the world of wine? And so we really want to hear you talk. So Hugo, I see you there, and I'm going to call you out because first of all, Hugo, I love your photo. I'm in marketing and branding, and all the photos are fantastic. When I looked at this flyer, I thought, wow, awesome. So Hugo, I know I'm going to be opening up with you, Rebecca. So Rebecca, I'll be right back. But just because I really love Hugo's branding. So hello, Hugo. How are you today?
I'm very good. Yourself?
Absolutely fantastic. So tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I've been with Gallo for about 4 years. I'm responsible for the Quebec market here as a provincial manager, working with the sales team, but also with all of our friends from marketing and from finance. And I've been in the industry for over 25 years now.
Fantastic. So bon, merci. Welcome. Yeah, great to have you. So the first question I'll ask is to Rebecca. Many of our viewers today are wondering, who is EJ Gallo? Tell us in a nutshell who you are and who you serve.
Great. Well, hello. Hi, my name's Rebecca Yates Campbell. I'm just so excited to be here. It's great to sort of virtually meet everybody and talk about Gallo. So we're a family-owned company. We were founded by two brothers, Ernest and Julio, hence our name, Ernest and Julio Gallo, in 1933. And that was right after the repeal of Prohibition, which happened in the US. Didn't happen in Canada, but it happened in the US where they weren't allowed to legally sell alcohol. You could only have it as like a sacramental wine. And when that was repealed, the two brothers saw an opportunity really to bring wine to the people. So they founded the company in 1933, and we've been family owned and operated ever since. Our head office is in Modesto, California, but we have offices around the world, including in Canada, which is where we all work and live. And we employ about 7,000 people worldwide. So we're a wine company, but we're also a spirits company and really a global industry leader. We are the largest winery in the world. We offer wines and a large number of wine brands. I think the number is now up at about 75. But we've also diversified into offering spirits. We offer wines from your entry level all the way to very luxurious wines that are in the hundreds of dollars range. We offer ready to drink products like in a can, the spritzers, as well as distilled spirits. And really, as a family-owned company, our core responsibility is a commitment to sustainability. We have part of our culture and value is to remain a family-owned and operated company. And we do that through sustainable mindset. And really, there's three pillars here. One is to combat climate change through taking care of our land. One is really to make sure that we're being as responsible as possible with the packages that we introduce. So really leaving less packaging behind and using recycled materials where we can. And then through diversity and inclusion, and by really including and hiring people with a diverse skill set and mindset from diverse backgrounds that really make Gallo a better place to work. So we're proud to be a Glassdoor best places to work. You'll see it sometimes in our signatures that it says Glassdoor, one of the best places to work for 5 years running. And our CEO was not named one of the top 100 CEOs in 2018. So we are a family owned and operated company. I'm very proud of that. And that really drives kind of a lot of what we do and how we lead our business.
Wow, Rebecca, thank you so very much for sharing that. And, kudos and congratulations for being, top 100 place to work by Glassdoor. That's quite an accomplishment. So kudos to you and your team. Well done. The next person, Rebecca, I love your photo as well. I thought it was absolutely amazing. So true to the brand, so true to the brand. And so, you know, everyone has a unique career path. How did you get to where you are today? And what attracted you to working with E&J Gallo?
Well, I've been with Gallo for 22 years, and I started out working in the restaurant industry and thought, wow, wine, that's really cool. You know, the wine people who come in here and sell wines to my restaurants, I'd like to do that. And then when I looked into it, I realized that there were a whole bunch of different opportunities within the wine industry, you know, from sales to marketing to PR. And so I started out in sales, and Gallo really taught me how to sell wine, how to talk about wine. And I moved into marketing, where I learned brand marketing. And now I'm back into sales, and I actually work in our luxury sales. I manage our luxury sales for Canada. So what that means is products that are in the $20 and above, those are the products that I sell. And so that requires a special skill set that I've been taught. It requires me to be a storyteller, you know, to talk about our brands and tell the stories, because if you're going to spend a good chunk of money on a bottle of wine, you want to know what you're buying and you want to know a little bit more about that. And Gallo's been just an incredible company to coach, teach, mentor me through all those roles, because I started out not knowing anything, but they really taught me how to do each one of the roles that I've been in.
Fantastic, thank you. And Jackie, same question to you. Tell me a little bit about your career path and what are some of the things that you absolutely love about your job at Gallo?
Absolutely. So I'm first going to explain what my job is, because it is a little bit of a unique specialty within marketing that they don't really teach in school. So many people probably won't know what I do. So I'm the senior trade marketing manager at Gallo. So I manage all of the promotional activity for our brands across Canada that come to life in the retail channel, as well as on premise. So on premise means bars, restaurants, event centers, I call it the Rogers Center still, but Budweiser stage. Anytime you see a promotion, whether it's talking about like pricing depth, or for consumers who drink beer, if you go in store and there's like hats in boxes and it's like, buy this package, get a free hat, that's really what goes through my team across the country. So trade marketing is very unique, and my career path was quite interesting because when I was in university, I actually was pursuing my chartered accountant degree. And that is what I had set my mind on for ever since high school. And I got into the co-op program at Wilfrid Laurier and got my dream job at PricewaterhouseCoopers in auditing, doing CPA. So that was my career, that was my goal. And when I got in and started doing that co-op term, I discovered that I like numbers, but I don't like numbers enough to do it like 16 hours a day, 6 days a week in a like closed room. So it was going into my 4th year, and I was like, well, what am I going to do? Because now I have to switch my entire career path that I've always had for the last 6 years. So I went into marketing and didn't really know what I was going to do there. So through co-op, as well as when I graduated, I actually interned at a marketing agency to just sort of learn what it's like doing marketing at a corporate job, as well as at a local agency. And from there, it really helped me to learn what sort of environment I liked. But that got me into looking for a different, more specialized job, such as trade marketing. And I actually stumbled upon that job at Labatt Breweries. So they own Budweiser, Bud Light, Corona, the Nines. And that was my first trade marketing job. And that's where I learned what trade marketing was. I kind of just jumped in, was figuring it out as I went, and really found my passion for the specialized form of marketing that's really kind of a hybrid of brand, sales, finance, a little accounting, everything in one. And I also fell in love with the industry. So from there, I was there for quite a few years doing trade and learning all sorts of different ways you can bring different brands to life, to what Rebecca was saying. But I then left the beer world and actually went into traditional CPG, so skincare, and I went to do some trade marketing in that industry. And I actually learned that it's very different than how you do trade marketing in alcohol. So it was a whole new world, new language, different ways of working with Walmart is very different than working with the LCBO. And through that, I learned a lot and realized I still love trade marketing, but I like it more in the alcohol industry. So I ended up back at Gallo by actually connecting with some of my past workers in the alcohol industry who I used to work with at Labatt, and they worked at Gallo. And so as I was looking to kind of get back in, I actually reached out to them and sort of informally interviewed my friends on what is it like working at Gallo? Like, do they like it? What's the atmosphere, the workplace environment, the culture? And they told me such positive things that I applied for the job, and I've been there now for just over 3.5 years. And I plan to be a part of the Gallo family really for the rest of my career. So really a non-linear career path to kind of get into where I am now. And I'm exceptionally grateful for every step along the way. And Gallo really is an amazing place to work, not only from a culture perspective, where it really empowers their employees, really have ownership in the jobs. I've learned that I don't work well under micromanagement. And one of the things I love about the people at Gallo is it's all about creative ideas, working with each other to help bring projects to life. If you have an idea, you can really work on it and test it in the industry. And that's really where I'm at now at Gallo. And I'd say if there's one big thing I can kind of share with everybody, it's that don't be afraid to kind of take a nonlinear path, because you learn along the entire way what you like, what you don't like. And it's through the relationships that you build, the different jobs and workplaces and industries that you work in, that you learn what you like and what you don't like. So then when you find your home base, as I like to call Gallo, you know, like this is where you want to be and where you can really continue to grow. And Gallo really fosters that sort of long-term employee company relationship. Like you don't feel like a number, you feel like a family member.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I love that you talk about this nonlinear path, because as I listen to you, I wonder, to our audience, when you look at a company like yours, if they don't have necessarily an industry specific, spirits or wine background, how do they navigate their path? But it sounds like there's good support within the company, which is absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. I would say the alcohol industry in general is very, very open to individuals from very different industrial backgrounds. So our lead of our digital team actually came from the auto department and auto industry with no background in alcohol. So we're definitely welcome to that, because you can learn from any job in any industry and translate it into what can we do differently here in alcohol that we might not have done before.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So my next question is to Sam and to Christina. Sam, I'll start with you first. What makes for a successful career as a Gallo employee? And what do you love the most, the absolute most about your job?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me here today. Very excited to chat with the full team. There's a few different things that I think make for a really successful Gallo employee. And Jackie kind of touched on it a little bit, and it's around problem solving, and especially creative problem solving. So regardless of what your background is and what you've kind of learned from other industries, there's always a way to take those learnings and apply them in a really unique way and a creative way for all the challenges that we're trying to solve. And for me personally, I work on our marketing team here at Gallo. I manage our brand marketing for our barefoot wine as well as our spirits portfolio. And every day is a little bit different in terms of what kind of challenges come your way and the problems that you're trying to solve. And approaching each situation in a really creative way can lead to a lot of success. And I think the way I kind of approach marketing and some good advice that I've seen across the years is, for marketing specifically, you kind of want to look at it in two different ways. So if we take kind of like an analogy of a plant, for example, the plant that you see out in the world is more of this like bloom, the beautiful side of it. But the really important part about it is the roots and that base. And for marketing, there's a similar side to that. So the world sees, you know, your campaigns and your fun creative and all this great stuff about the brand. But part of my job and really being successful is managing the roots of the brand. So how do we manage all of those daily things that come to life to make sure that the brand that the world sees is really successful? So for our employees and our teams, it's important to be able to manage all of those small behind the scene details that consumers don't see, so that everything else can really flourish for the brand. And one thing that I really love about my job is that creative problem solving. I really like to tackle problems in a really unique way, to make sure that the brand is growing and, you know, we're constantly showing the brand in the best way that it possibly can be for consumers. So whether that's, you know, working on new innovation projects or these campaigns, or just understanding more about our consumers and how we can really make sure that our brands are fitting into their lifestyle in the best possible way, so that they continue to choose us.
I'm on mute. That's so inspiring. Thank you for sharing that, Sam. And Christina.
Hi guys, I'm Christina. So I've been at the winery for about 4 years now. I'm a financial analyst. So for a successful employee, I would definitely say having a good work ethic is key, keeping a positive attitude and maintaining good communication. I've realized that if you're not sure of something, don't be afraid to ask questions, especially if you're starting a new job. It's always hard. There's a lot to learn, and asking questions shows that you're willing to learn and understand the business. It'll also help because it'll give you peace of mind because you know that you're on the right track. What do I love most about my job? E&J Gallo is a great company. Over the past few years, we've had a lot of new innovations and acquisitions. We've gained a lot of new brands, and it's been a lot of projects in the works. So it's always interesting. Like there's always something new, always a new project that you're working on. The company also has a really great positive corporate culture. Pre-COVID, there was a lot of like team building events. So it gave you a really good opportunity to get to know the people that you're working with. It's also nice working for such a big international company. It gives you do have the option to relocate if that's something that you're interested in. And you get a lot of good traveling and networking opportunities. And then I've also learned a lot about wine that I didn't know before entering the industry.
Wow, that's incredible. So this is an off-beat question, but you know, tell me a little bit, Christina, about, so you've been at Gallo for 4 years, and what is the mentorship like there in your area? You know, because you're in finance, so it's very different than the marketing area.
Yeah, that's true. And we have a really small department. So it's just myself, my manager, and then one other analyst who kind of does accounting and finance.
Yes.
But it's been great. I found that everyone that I've worked with is very willing to take time out of their day to just like show you how things work. It really fosters learning, I found, in this company.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. If anyone listening would have questions, please do put your questions in the chat and I'll read them out to the team. This is your opportunity to hear everything you want to know about this industry and this company. So please put your questions in the chat. The next question I have is for Marlene and Hugo. Hugo, what challenges have you had to overcome in your career, marketing, sales, or finance? And how has Gallo corporate culture helped with that?
Well, if I can say, I mean, my example or the story around challenges would be around engaging others and endless partners. And when I was thinking about how I could answer this question, I thought about past history, and one thing came to my mind is sometimes, even though you think you got a great idea or the idea, it's not always your idea or the best idea that gets to the top. It's actually the ideas that gets pursued around the most people around. So whether you're in sales, marketing, or finance, you're likely to face a situation where you strongly believe in the solution that you found. So to increase your chance of success and seeing your recommendation actually being implemented, you must communicate it to, in full details to to the key stakeholders, and also to a larger group of colleagues from different departments. Even if you get like the green light for your ID, this is only the one step to get to successful, is actually implementation, and execution is critical when it gets to get an ID rolled out. So an example I have about that in my past life and other company is that I had, being in sales, I had an ID where I thought that we had to change our CRM system, and I thought that the organization had an opportunity to actually take on a CRM solution that I used to work with, and I kind of just like didn't talk enough to my line managers and my colleagues about the CRM, and although the solution would have been like fantastic for the job or for the company, it didn't happen because I didn't communicate it enough and all the benefits to everyone. So that's kind of a situation or a challenge I learned from, and I can say the good story about it is very recently, and as everyone knows, every industry and every company are short staff, and so is Gallo, and I would say Gallo Quebec for now. So started to talk about co-op trainee program that I used to work with in the past, and started to have the conversation with Wendy is on the call today, and then started to have also the conversation with managers and also with HR to actually talk about the need, talk about the opportunity, and in a very short term, by engaging a lot of people around the solution, and for everyone to understand what is the current situation and how this situation could or this opportunity could help us at the end. It ended up that in not even a week, we got everyone on board, and we're gonna actually roll up on a co-op trainee program locally here. So that's an example of things that you can do better, and how it turned out when you actually apply those rules to a challenge you end up facing.
Yeah, thank you. And I so champion co-op training. I mean, one of the best lessons I've had in my life goes back to my grade 8 co-op class. I cannot champion that enough, for just young people, but anyone wanting to learn in this type of environment. So that's great. Thank you. And Marlene.
Hi, so I am Marlene Patel, and I've been the finance manager for Gallo for 5 years now. So some of the challenges that I've had to overcome in my 5 years at Gallo, I have 4 big ones. So I would start with disconnected systems and processes. In finance, we rely heavily on the data that we get and the systems that provide that data, and organizing it and analyzing it. So 3 years ago, we went through an SAP transition where we moved from our legacy system to SAP, and there were lots of challenges that came with that, and including not being able to see accurate financials, trying to understand the system, having disconnected systems. And in fact, we're still uncovering issues 3 years later. So that was a big challenge. I think we've come a long way, and Gallo has helped us with overcome that challenge along the way. We went to California to headquarters for training. We've had support from California come to Canada to help us train and help us rebuild all the reports. So the support we received from Gallo has helped us overcome that major challenge. That leads me to my second one, which is inaccurate reporting. And that kind of comes from the disconnected systems. So that's a challenge that we had to work with during that transition, just trying to get accurate data into our forecasting, into our budget, into our financial reports, because that's business decisions are made from those financials. So we, as the finance team, works really hard with everyone just to make sure that the data that's flowing through those systems is accurate. So not only are we reporting it, but we're analyzing it, we're checking it, we're validating it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, please continue.
Yep, some of the other things that we face on a regular basis are manual tasks that take too long. So I think what's important as a finance professional is to try to learn Excel. Excel is a powerful tool that we all use, and that helps us organize large amounts of data and analyze it, and be able to pull out, validate the data, be able to pull out insights from that. So I think that's an important tool that every finance person should know. And finally, lack of business insight. So, financials without the insights is pretty useless. So I think it's important to collaborate with the teams working in finance, like just collaborating with sales, collaborating with marketing, even corporate finance, IT, every single department, to just understand what's driving the financials, what's causing changes in the financials is important to understand, and to be able to analyze the financials and tell a story about them to everyone else is important. And I feel like Gallo has just provided tremendous support on, during my career at Gallo, by providing the training, providing, the people to talk to. The collaboration between all the departments is amazing, as other people have said. Just working together, it's a very close-knit team, and everyone's always willing to help and to help you understand what's going on with the business.
And yeah, thank you for sharing that. And this question is for, I'm not muted, am I? You can hear me? Yes. For anyone on the team, how has COVID impacted your, whether it's team environment, the business itself, and anyone can jump in on this.
I can start with from like the team environment standpoint. So for us, our head office in Canada is in Mississauga, but because we're a national company, we have teams in every province. And for us, we are a very close-knit group. Although we're a large company, our Canada team as a whole is not gigantic. And so what you've heard a lot from everyone is we help each other, whether it's across departments or support for trainings. And one of the things that was in our office that was huge, between finance, marketing, and some of the sales, is we did have a lot of fun while we worked, and we really enjoy everyone's company. We learn a lot on hand, and it's easy just to go to someone's desk, so much easier, and ask a question and problem solve as a team than it would be outside of the office and working from home. And so we've been working from home since COVID started, and it's been a huge change for our entire team in terms of learning how to communicate and collaborate together still, and also maintain that camaraderie and those close relationships, because we really miss that sort of fun environment. So for our team, at least on marketing side for sure, but I do see this on our whole Canada business, video calling is really important, like being on video and showing your face. And even if you're having like a bad hair day, if you just throw on a hat, we are all very accepting and have some fun with that. But it's nice just to see each other. And when you have a video phone call, it's not just business. You have that small talk. I was just telling my team yesterday how I was gardening in my bathtub this weekend. Then we dived into strategic brand planning. So it's important to kind of maintain that fun collaboration and that personality. And I think through Gallo's like culture of constantly helping people, wanting to make a sort of local family here, and with these video calls, we've really all banded together to still help each other figure out technology, work together, and really make sure we're still having fun with what we're doing.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that you say show up, even if you're bad hair day, just throw on the hat. I think in this time, people just want to see one another. It doesn't matter what you look like. I think this is the first time when we're just accepting. We're just happy to see another human being, that you're healthy and well, and it doesn't really matter all the other stuff. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Jackie. Anybody else wanting to weigh in on that one? Okay, I'll take a question from the chat. It says, is white label or private labeling a service that Gallo provides to companies?
We do white label in the US, but not in Canada. So in Canada, we take brands from the US and we really expand them and leverage them here, but we generally don't do white label branding.
Great. All right, thank you. The next question is, what's the criteria to bring an acceptable private label to the Gallo's collection? So same thing, no. All right, so the next question is going to go to Jackie and Wendy. The wine industry comes with a lot of moving parts in its ecosystem that could be challenging, given you serve so many different customers with different tastes. In your experience, what is the most challenging part of your industry and how do you manage it?
Wen, do you want to go first or?
Yeah, sure. So yes, this industry is incredibly complex. We can't forget, like Rebecca said, in essence, we are farmers. You know, it really starts in the ground and the roots, like, you know, many of us have been talking about. So there are a lot of moving parts, but really fundamentally, I think the takeaway for the group today is really about being adaptable. So for us, we deal with many different customers. We don't only deal with many different customers, we deal with many different cultures. You know, we have many different ethnicities of people we deal with in restaurants, hotels. We deal with many different layers of leadership. You know, we deal with people who are just learning, you know, some of our students that are learning right up to VPs in the organization. So I think that for the group, a takeaway is really to make sure it's an adaptable approach. We really have to deal with the human factor every day, the human factor being, you know, our clients and our customers, the human factor being our team members, the human factor being our leadership group. So it's really about trying to manage that piece. And again, the key I'm going to tell the group for learning, which I've learned, is to be adaptable. Make sure you can really adjust yourself to who your audience is, no matter who they might be.
Awesome.
Excellent point.
And you know what, I'm going to build off that because it's perfect. I was going to say adaptable, but also resilient and agile when it comes to problem solving. The thing that I love about this industry is how rapidly it's constantly changing. Alcohol is not a static industry. You just look even at with COVID and the challenges there that it's provided, like we can't do samplings anymore in the liquor channels because it's not safe. Or the opening of alcohol sales in Ontario grocery. That's a brand new market, brand new channels, and all new customers that we need to figure out, not only from a supply chain standpoint, but how are we allowed to market and work with all those customers, with our sales team to marketing, but then also the government aspect of it and the legalities. So it's always something new and a new challenge. And if you're resilient to change or can become comfortable with problem solving, that's really going to set you up for success in this industry. And the best way I say to look at it is being creative, but also looking at change from a positive standpoint with entrepreneurship, where when a challenge comes up, what's the positive in it? It's okay, this has never been done before. COVID has never happened. We have never been able to not sample anything from granola bars to alcohol. So how on earth do we now drive samples to consumers on products? And that's such an interesting challenge for your role that you can have fun with creative ideas. And working at Gallo, where they support individual creative ideas and bouncing ideas off your team members, you can actually build something new that could change the industry or change the way you work. And so there's a lot of interesting ways to kind of look at challenges and being adaptable. And the second big challenge I would say is that we are not a streamlined marketing and sales team. Because of us selling alcohol, we have to think about B2B marketing and sales and B2C. So business to business and business to consumer marketing, as well as the full government level of rules and regulations. So the best example I have to explain that is when you go into the LCBO right now, you will see promotions where you can get a bag of chips with your purchase, or you'll get a really cool mug on top of rum chata bottles. And in order for us to get that promotion into stores, we have to make sure that the item is legally approved and follows guidelines for legal drinking consumption. So that's the government level. Then we need to actually pitch it to the LCBO, our business to business sort of aspect, to make sure it appeals to them and they want to give us display space in their stores to use this promotion. And then the third is, do you even want a mug? Like, as a consumer, would that make you interested and excited? And so those are all the ways we have to think about everything we do, from a marketing or even sales aspect, never mind the background of finances with Christina, from making sure it will give us a really good positive lift and not cost us a ton of money, to supply chain, where can I get these mugs overseas in time, or are they now going to be stuck on a cargo ship outside Vancouver because the floods just wiped out the entire roads? So very agile, but also have to think of multiple different consumers and businesses. And I'd say my recommendation to really help me navigate that is really be open to learning about every aspect of the business. If you specialize in finance, or you specialize in marketing or digital marketing, even to be more distinct, still be open to learning, how do we get our products into the country? How does the liquor board work? How does Sobeys sell alcohol? If you learn about all these things, it makes problem solving easier, but then you build a lot of great relationships across the whole organization. And that's how you get help from people. And without your team members, you can't succeed. So it's really fostering that good relationship and strengthening your own understanding.
So Jackie, thanks for sharing that. And just so you know, I'm the consumer that loves the freebie with the wine and the drink. So if there's a cup, if there's some kind of a swag attached, I'm so there. I'm so there. But you know, have you thought of those little, you know, those wines you get on the plane? You know, you can send those to your consumers.
It's true, but we have to, not every province allows that. So again, we have to think about that.
You know, so Michael, how are you? Is
Nadine, hi, I'm good, thank you. Sorry for the
Good.
delay.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. You are in Ontario, yes? Are you in Ontario?
Yes, just outside Toronto.
Oh, fantastic. So welcome to the session today. Really great to see you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what have you been doing at Gallo?
See, I've been with Gallo now for just under 3 years, and I started with Gallo. It's interesting. I'll just kind of quickly go through. Jackie kind of went through the pieces that talk about, you know, joining Gallo and why with Gallo, and the different parts about kind of that stream that gets you to the career path that you want. And to make a short story long, I started with Gallo back in, a while ago, like let's say, you know, 15, 16 years ago, but I came from the government and worked at Queen's Park. And so my job was speech writing at the government. And then an opportunity came up to be a sales rep with Gallo. So I applied for the role in person and was fortunate enough to be hired by the hiring manager at that time. And that was just one thing I'd mentioned for anybody interested in sales. If you're interested in sales, go knock on the door and go, and don't settle for just maybe sending something through email. If there's an opportunity to go and do it in person, do that, because that really helped me going and applying and not leaving until somebody would see me in person at the office. And eventually I was hired by the third person that day that said, what's going on here? Who's this person that won't just drop a resume off and leave? And Tim Maletich said, come on in, and sat in the office. Next thing you know, 2 weeks later, I had the job. So if you want to be in sales, be very persistent, because you're going to be working on your own, and the companies want someone who's going to get up, go, and hustle and do that without being in an office every day. So I was with Gallo years ago, and then transitioned away because it was a contract position, and then came back 4 years ago to Gallo, and very fortunate to be part of the family there. And I've been doing sales, managing the Ontario sales field team. And our role is to sell all of the wine and make dreams come true in all of the LCBOs, all of the grocery stores, and all of the on-premise accounts as well. And that's what we do, and that's what I do.
Oh, that's so inspiring. You know, I always say that, you know, brands are are reflected through the people who champion them. And just hearing you, it's like, I'm going to get 2 cases of what, I don't care what it is, I'll buy 2 cases of what you're selling. And so, it's so important that you exude that, confidence, that trust that, it's going to be great. I thank you for what you shared. Very, 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 very excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome, Nadine. You're welcome. And when on the sheet, I know for COVID, looking at some of the opportunities and some of the roadblocks that we faced, I'll just say from a sales standpoint for the field team, the difficult part for them is not being able to go into the stores. When this started, when the pandemic started, they couldn't go into the LCBO stores, their liquor stores and sell properly and sample. And sampling is a big part of that. And going in and being able to taste their managers or their staff in the back rooms of the new products. So it took away that qualitative part that the team has of them going in and saying, here's the flavor profile, here's what it's like, and how was your weekend? So they didn't have that personal part that's been such an important part of a sales rep's role for years. Now they've had to adapt and go to that quantitative side where they have to use the computer and just be able to pull up numbers and data and speak to a manager that way. When you go in and say, well, we're ranked number 2 and we deserve a spot on shelf. So they have to prove their worth through fact-based selling. And that's a lot of the data that comes from maybe consumer packaged goods when you're looking at certain brands and products, and it's not the storytelling, but it's the fact side. So they're learning that part as well and adapting very well while they have this opportunity.
Yeah, of course. And, if you can share, what was it like, when COVID started? So in month 2, when we were still in the shock, when things were shut down. But I remember that, of course, the LCOB lines were very, very long, but in your industry, what was your immediate response in that first, 60 days when, people were still in shock that this pandemic was happening and you're shipping products probably from the US to Canada. And I don't know if that impeded or affected your business, but what was that moment like?
To your point, it did impede the business and how product was coming into Ontario. There was all of those pieces that we had to adapt to, and part of that for the stores, there were the lineups, like you said, and the sales team from a sales side had to wait, and they'd have to book appointments. So instead of being able to just go into a store, it was what's the government of Ontario telling us? What can we do? Okay, let's wait for their direction. And if they say, okay, you're allowed to stay open, then the team would have to adapt and pivot to that and say, okay, what's the next step? Well, the LCBO would funnel that down to say, now you have to make an appointment with a manager and you have to wait in line sometimes. So where that line was out front, a sales rep traditionally at Christmas, if there was a lineup, which sometimes there used to be in years past without COVID, you just go through the back door. But with this, it's not like that scenario. You have to wait in line and go in and talk to them that way. So that was a bit of an adapting piece for them. And right at the beginning, people didn't know. We weren't sure what everybody could do. It was just hold and see what the government says and just make phone calls to your stores. That was the first 60 days was when they stopped it going in. It was call your stores, build a hunt list, and do it that way.
And may I add on top of that, because Mike covered everything. And then from the corporate standpoint as well, like our number one focus was everybody's safety at the end of the day, like our sales teams and the consumers. And it was how can we help the LCBO manage that? And how can we help our sales team and everything get people what they want and what they need as safely as possible inside the stores? So it was kind of a minute we all had to step back and think, okay, this promotion, let's hold, because it's not sensitive and time sensitive right now. It's more important of what does the sales team need to do and how can we help them be successful in this new way of trying to drive sales? And let's limit all the multitude of other things they normally have so they can focus and do their job safely and managing that stress as much as possible while we figure out on our end, what does the LCBO and our customers need as well? So it's really about like supporting and putting people first at the end of the day.
Great. Thanks, Jackie. My next question is to you, Wendy. Wendy, EJ Gallo is a family-owned company for almost 90 years. How have you survived this competitive wine environment, especially with new entrants from Chile, South Africa, and the rest of the world?
Well, it's funny because I know you said it's funny hearing 90 years a company today is quite spectacular. I've been with the organization 26 years, so I've seen a lot. Yeah, so just for all the folks out there, it's to show you that you can start with the organization and grow with them and constantly adapt and constantly change and constantly learn. So have some faith out there that this type of scenario, which we don't really see that often, can happen. A company is still in existence 90 years. I've been here 26. And I think the reason why Gallo themselves, the family, and myself, if again, another piece of advice to everyone, you know, on the call today, is really remaining true to one's core, really being, you know, remaining who you are. You know, I'll give you an example. McDonald's is a perfect example. You know, a few years back, and maybe even now, I don't even know, they were dabbling with going and having burgers beyond meat, no meatless burgers. And, you know, they quickly have kind of abandoned that, or, you know, let that go, or the testing hasn't really happened. So it's like they kind of deviated from truly who they were as a company. And Gallo's always remained, you know, really authentic California. Yeah, they dabble with Chile and France and Argentina and all those little things, just like McDonald's tried. But the true core of them is their Big Mac. They're, you know, they're the McChicken. This is who they are. So, you know, again, it's just getting back to really being, you know, true to yourself and your roots. And that would be definitely a huge takeaway for the group as everyone kind of, you know, grows and decides sort of where they want to go, if I can share that piece.
Thank you. So Wendy, you started at 3 at Gallo.
You are so sweet. You are so sweet.
Like 26 years, like, no.
Wait, let me back up the camera a bit. Hold on. I got to back that up a bit.
Not at all. We have a question from the chat. What, if any, cannabis collaborations is Gallo rolling out or looking at?
So actually, this dovetails into what Wendy talked about being true to your core. We work in the alcoholic beverage sector, and we make wine. We do make spirits, and actually the first spirit we ever made was the base of what we distilled was wine, which is brandy. Brandy's actually made from a base wine. It's distilled. So Gallo is true to what it does. We make wine and we make spirits, but we're not entering into the cannabis business at this time.
Great, thank you. And a question for you, Hugo. What about your role at Gallo that aligns with causes or initiatives that you're passionate about?
Oh, about what I'm passionate about?
Yes.
Well, actually, the one single thing I would say is really you know, it comes back to challenges, and one thing that actually is I feel every day is actually the challenge of achieving what was what I kind of promised, if you will, and actually it's really, it comes down to make sure that, you know, you put yourself in the situation where you draw a plan, you build your team, you deliver on and you deliver on your plan. You're actually every day you strive in making sure that you do everything in your power to really make it happen. And also, one thing that is really important as a manager is to help your team achieve their goals and actually to grow in their career as well. So that's one of my, you know, after 25 years in the business overall, it's one thing that I really appreciate about learn others and trying to, you know, bring people new in the organization and actually in the industry. We recently hired someone that actually just came out from university, and that's I love that aspect as well of you know, help others to achieve their goal or their career goals as well.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to do a quick rapid round to everybody. So I'm going to ask you quickly. You're going to answer quickly. All right. So Jackie, I'll start with you. Yes. It's summer. You're at a picnic. What are you drinking?
La Marca Prosecco Rosé.
Ooh, love, love, love. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, Michael, you're at a game, Super Bowl. You're having tacos and chips and all that. What are you drinking?
Oh boy, High Noon. I'm having our High Noon seltzer.
Okay, sounds good. Rebecca, you're at a spa for the weekend with your girlfriends. What are you drinking?
Oh, well, what am I not drinking? But Lewis and Martini, Napa Valley, Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa.
Oh, I want
Rich,
that.
ripe red.
Ooh, very
Mhm.
nice. Sounds very nice. I would like two of that, please. Okay, Sam, you're out and about and you've taken a moment to go to a restaurant. You're having at a cafe. It's summer. What are you having?
Ooh, I would probably have our Whitehaven Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand.
Ooh, very nice, very nice. Hugo, what about you? You're at home, you're having a nice, you're having steak tartare, okay? And then you're having a beef Wellington. What are you having?
I will definitely have a orange Swift Papillon, wonderful wine.
Oh, very nice. And Christina, you're just Friday night at home, curled up in a blanket, watching Thelma and Louise. What are you having?
Drinking Pink Whitney. Our New Amsterdam Pink Whitney.
Okay. And Marlene, you've just come home from work. You've made a fabulous dinner. You have 4 friends over. What are you having?
I will be having Ghost Pine Chardonnay.
Ooh, very nice, very nice. You know what, mine, since the Harry Jerome Awards last year, when we sent wines, like when everyone had the awesome barefoot wines and the apothecary, that's been my, that's what I buy. That's what I buy now. That's what I buy now. So the final question that I'll ask everyone, and again, just quickly, what advice would you give to young professionals looking to start a career with Gallo? I'll ask that to Jess and Christina, actually. Jess and Christina, what advice would you give? And we're at time.
Sure, I can go really, really quickly. We've kind of like touched on this a little bit already, which, you know, everyone has been really like collaborative in saying this, but I would say you don't have to know every single thing in order to feel like you're qualified for the job. I think there's a common misconception that you need to have all of the answers all of the time. And I know for, you know, young professionals or people who have recently graduated, don't discredit yourself by thinking that you need to have every single skill on a job application in order to apply, because having like a willingness to learn as you go will speak volumes.
And you know, Jess, how are you? I remembered we met very early
Yes.
in the throes. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
And of course, Jess is a social media and creative specialist. We have so many young people in our scholarship program and professionals who want to know more about the social media industry. And so tell us, Jess, a little bit about how you manage social media in this industry. And guys, I know we're for time. I promise I will not be more than another 3 minutes, but let us hear from you, Jess, in your role.
Yeah, so I have been with Gallo for almost 5 years now, coming up next month, which is crazy to think, but so I handle everything social media related, from like social strategy, paid promotions and advertising for all of the premium and popular brands. And I will say over the past 2 years, there's been a lot of challenges. There's been a few, you know, blackout periods that we've had because it just hasn't been appropriate to be promoting wine and be advertising in certain pandemic industries. But we've touched on this a lot today. It's a lot about adapting and pivoting and staying true to who you are and making timely decisions.
And so, Jess, what is your choice? You're out with friends. You're having an awesome time. It's Sunday brunch, right?
Oh, Lamarca, of course. Yeah, easy.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. It's amazing that the time's done. You have to come back. We have to do this again. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all at the BBPA Harry Jerome Awards on the 30th of April. There's great plans, and you know, our partner Gallo, we're just so very thrilled with your support, and thank you very, very much. And so to our audience, thank you very much for being here. You know, one of the things we've heard from Michael, it's so important to show up, to be persistent, and resilience is so key. And, you know, and being true to your core. I think these are things that, you know, makes for successful businesses. And we thank you very much for being here today. And we very much look forward to partnering with you once again. So I hope that we can do this again in the fall. This would be really great. So thank you very much for being here. And Kimberly, over to you.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure that you join next week as we'll continue to celebrate Black history, and we look forward to having you all. Have a great day, and we'll see you all soon.